There is a revolution going on in America right now. Right now. And it is the same kind of revolution that happened in Venezuela. And the people like us, we don't believe our lives can change that much because we've never witnessed it. We've had tough times, but we've never witnessed any kind of dictatorship. We all go about our day thinking that it's always going to be somewhat like this. We can't truly. The biggest problem with America is our lack of imagination. We cannot imagine life being much different than it is right now in America. But I ask you to imagine a very different existence. Because if you don't start seeing the writing on the wall, and if our neighbors don't start seeing it, and we don't start peacefully standing up and saying, no more, no more. I'm not crossing this line. I'm waiting for the GOP to give us a contract for America. I'm waiting for them to say, you know what? Some of us in America still hold these truths to be self-evident. And, I can talk to you about all these different policies and the spending packages and everything else. But here's what's important. The rights of the individual citizens. That is our first charge. That's why governments are instituted among men. Not to create rights, and certainly not to infringe or take them away. So I know that the most important thing over the economy, over everything else, is to protect those rights. You want to talk to me about things? You want to talk to me about, the IRS now having access to every single person's banking account, and everything that they do over $600 is reported to the federal government? Federal government can't do that to you. They can do it to the banks, but they can't do it to you. That's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. You don't have the right to do that. You think I'm doing something wrong. See, this is what they're saying. These people aren't paying their fair share, and so we have to figure out how they're not doing it. Excuse me, I am paying my fair share. I'm paying every dime, every dollar that I am owed, or that I owe to the federal government. I have a real problem paying it because of the waste, the gross mismanagement, and for the things they're spending it on. But I am loyal to the social contract. But I'm not paying you a dime more. And unless you have reason to believe, hard evidence, and you can bring that to an actual court, not a secret court, an actual court, and get a subpoena and say, we need to see his banking records, then you can look at my banking records. But you're not looking at my banking records just because you're trying to find something wrong. That's against the Constitution of the United States. Period. They are changing things. They can't change them in Congress. They can't change them through the Senate. The Senate and the House are shadows of what they're supposed to be. They are nothing but rubber stamps. The people they're voting, please. The leadership of both sides get together and they're setting an agenda and they rubber stamp whatever the Congress is there and the Senate is there to basically rubber stamp whatever the parties say they want. There's no real debate on these things anymore because Congress has given up their power because they didn't want to be held accountable. And so they gave all of their power to the different agencies. And that's how America is being transformed. All through faceless bureaucrats that you didn't elect. You don't even know their name. You can't do anything about it because they have power. How do they have power? Well, it comes from the president. Well, but that's not even constitutional. Doesn't matter. It comes from the president. We will not survive And while I want to read some things from a courtroom. This is on the January 6th riot. Court sentenced 2 Ohio men to serve 45 days in jail after U.S. prosecutors for the first time requested incarceration at sentencing hearings for nonviolent misdemeanor offenders. Misdemeanor is a small deal. You got a felony? Okay. Misdemeanor? Now they want to send you to jail. Punishment comes after federal judges for months have questioned whether no prison plea deals offered by the government to low-level January 6 defendants are too lenient to deter future attackers from terrorizing members of Congress. I want you to know, everything this government is doing is communication to you, and you are communicating back to them through your actions. Right now, they are telling you, don't you dare stand up. Don't you dare stand up. Now, this is January 6th is a different thing. They shouldn't have broken in. They shouldn't have done all that. That was horrible. It was a stupid move, just ethically, and it was a stupid move strategically. Just dumb. But we don't create new punishments because we want to send a message. That's not what we do. That's not justice. But they're sending you a message wherever you are. And it's happening in our communities with the unions, the teachers' unions, and the school boards. Sit down and shut up, or we will make it miserable. If your kid says, please don't say anything, it's going to make it miserable for me, you must stand up. You must do it. Because if they're afraid that they are going to be bullied by teachers or by the school, because you say something now, what do you think it's going to be like if you let it ride? They are sending you a message. You are powerless. They're sending you a message. Sit down. Take it. How many of us are willing to go like we did in Washington, D.C. on August 28th, 2010? How many of us are willing to go do that? How many of us would be willing to go and march on 9/11 or what was it, 9/12, the tax tea party? How many of us would do it? A lot would not, because they would be afraid it would be infiltrated, or they would be afraid that they're going to get stomped. They're going to be put on a list. So right now, we have judges that are saying we have to send a message that you don't mess with these people.